Here's 5 important secrets to YouTube analytics. YouTube analytics can be a really deep and dark place and you can get really sucked into it, but I've been on YouTube for 12 years and I'm making this video because I think these are the 5 most important things that you need to focus on to grow your YouTube channel. Only 5. Before we get into number 1, I just want to welcome you guys to the channel. This is the Blueprint channel where our mission is to help creators build valuable attention. I've been on YouTube for 12 years, as I've mentioned, and I've grown multiple channels to over 10 million subscribers. So if you're looking for more information and free videos on how to grow your YouTube channel, I highly recommend subscribing. It really helps us out. But let's go into number 1. And the first thing is bad analytics. There's one really important thing about analytics, and I think there is a very big difference between looking at analytics without an audience and looking at analytics with an audience. So if you're a brand new channel and you don't really have an audience consuming your content, maybe you have a couple hundred or maybe 1,000 subscribers, then your retention might be terrible. Your click-through rate might be terrible. All the analytics might be really, really bad. And it's really hard for you to figure out what's wrong because all of it's wrong. But the reality is your videos might just be hitting the wrong audience. So they're clicking on them for a little bit and then they're clicking off. Bad retention, bad CTR doesn't necessarily mean your video is bad. It could just mean it's falling into the wrong audience. And this happens a lot when you're growing a channel from pretty much zero. What I'm trying to say is that when you're growing a channel and you're very new to the YouTube scene, I don't think you should look at your analytics very often. I don't think you should really obsess over them. I think you should obsess over making more and better videos. I personally did not look at my YouTube analytics till I posted about 300 videos. Obviously it's different for everyone. I encourage you to look at your analytics, but just don't obsess over them, because if you don't really have an audience, it's hard for these analytics to make sense. Now, after I uploaded a couple hundred videos and once I established an audience of about 10 to 20,000 people, that's when I started looking at my analytics. I started looking at all the different things that I could improve and really started focusing on them, which brings me to my next point, retention. Retention on YouTube is a very, if not probably one of the most important metrics. Now, I personally like to treat my analytics kind of like a scoreboard. I think that's a good way to look at them. Like a scoreboard of, maybe a football team. When a football team looks at a scoreboard, they look at the scoreboard very quickly and then they adjust and they go out and play. You don't really see football teams staring at the scoreboard, staring at them for hours and just figuring out what's wrong, because that's not going to make them a better player. Now, of course, everyone has a different take on how long you should look at this scoreboard, but I'm a big believer in look at the scoreboard for maybe 10 to 20 minutes a day and then go out and make a ton of videos and keep improving and film better videos, edit better videos, make better thumbnails, make better titles. But back to the retention, if YouTube shows that people are staying on this video for longer, it's more likely to be recommended to more people, because that tells YouTube that people are enjoying this video. And you also have to remember that YouTube is a business. So if people watch the video for longer, they're going to see more advertisements and YouTube is going to make more money and you are also going to make more money. Of course, YouTube wants to make more money. It's a business, but it also wants to push out content that people are going to enjoy, because as a business, you have to keep your customers entertained. You can't lose customers, right? Warren Buffett has this great quote where the number 1 rule of investing is to not lose money. And that's the same with business. The number 1 rule of business is to not lose customers. So YouTube is not trying to lose customers. So this is why retention is so important, because it tells people that, hey, there's 1,000, 10,000, or 100,000 people that watched this video that really, really loved it. They watched this video almost to the very end. Now, one very important thing to understand about retention, and this is personally just the way I look at retention is like water to a plant. Without water, a plant can't really live. It needs water. However, water is not the purpose of the plant's life and existence. With that being said, focusing on retention is not the purpose of your video, but you definitely should understand it. I got a little chart here, and here is retention metrics that you should try to hit based on video length. So if your video is 3 minutes long, you should aim for 85% and above retention. If your video is 6 minutes long, you should aim for 70% and above retention. If your video is 10 minutes long, you should should aim for 60% and above retention. If your video is 15 minutes long, you should aim for 55% and above retention. And if your video is 30 minutes long, you should aim for 50% and above retention. Now, these numbers are difficult to hit. I will say that. I do not hit them very often, but they're very good goals. And if you can hit some of these numbers, that's great. Keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing and keep making more of those videos that get that good retention. The next tip is CTR. This is your click-through rate. This is something I highly recommend looking at and basically just comparing to most of your videos. This is actually how I found a lot of breakthroughs and discoveries when I would compare CTR. Because if you just look at CTR, I mean, YouTube's just gonna tell you, hey, the CTR is low, or hey, the CTR is high. For our videos, personally, we sit anywhere from an 8% to a 14% CTR, and that's pretty much good for us. Anything below 8% is kind of bad. Of course, anything above 14% is insane. The highest CTR that I've ever gotten on a video, to my knowledge, is about 19%. And that video, of course, went viral. But like I said, comparing your videos. So let's say you have two videos and one has a 6% CTR and maybe the other one has an 8% CTR. Compare your title, your thumbnail, and your video idea, because that's why people click on the video. They click for the video idea, the title, and the thumbnail. So maybe compare those titles, those thumbnails. Try to find the difference. Why is one higher than another? I would do this for hours and hours on end, and I would compare and contrast all types of different titles and thumbnails, and I would list out the character traits of, you know, why I think this thumbnail will do better and why I think this did better. And then you kind of come to conclusions, and then you ended up applying that information and adapting it and putting it into your next video. Next tip, this one is a little bit advanced, but it personally really helped me, and hopefully it will help you. This is how to find content that drives the most amount of subscriptions. So if you go to YouTube Advanced, and then you go to videos published, and then you can select certain dates, and then you can look at and select subscribers. This is gonna tell you what videos or shorts gained the most amount of subscriptions. And then what you can do is you can, click on these videos, you can rewatch these videos and try to figure out, why did these certain videos gain so many subscribers? Was it maybe something you said, like maybe you encourage people to subscribe, or maybe it was just a really good video. And if it's a really good video, you can take that video and try to replicate it and make it 10, 20, or 30 more times in different ways. This is a really good way to find content that your audience thought was very engaging and they wanted to subscribe, so you can figure out what that content is and try to recreate it more and more and more. My next tip is a little bit more advanced. This is our 5th tip, but then after that I have a bonus tip, which I think you're really gonna like. We got one more, but this tip is upload frequency compared to viewership. So I got my graph pulled up here, and basically if you go to YouTube Advanced, then you go to videos published, and then you select dates, and then you have content views. So you can select a wide range of dates. You could select the last year, you could select the last week, or maybe just the last month. It's totally up to you. I just kind of play around with it and select all types of different dates. But basically what we're doing here is we're trying to see when our views go up compared to upload frequency. So for example, this is a huge breakthrough that I discovered looking at this. You can see our views go up a ton during July and June in summer months, which makes sense because our audience is full of kids, so they're out of school, so they're watching a lot of YouTube. But for some reason, we didn't upload a ton of videos during those months. I'm not sure why, but we just didn't. We didn't focus on it. So if our views are up, we should be uploading more and more videos during those months. So that is a huge goal that we set for last summer, and we actually doubled our uploads for the summer months, and we saw some really good results from it. And next year in 2025, we're gonna try to upload even more videos. We're gonna try 2 videos a week on our big channel and 2 videos a week on our smaller channel. So, around 16 videos a month, and I'm hoping this will explode our views for the summer months. All right, tip number 6. This is our bonus tip, and honestly, this might be one of the most important ones. So your analytics is your data, and of course, it's super, super important, and it's very, very valuable. I mean, YouTube is giving you these tools to directly tell you how to grow your channel, but the thing about analytics is it's not the only place to see data, and there's other places that are far more valuable. I want you to understand that finding analytics, finding breakthroughs in your content does not stop at your analytics dashboard. It goes way way beyond that. Your analytics tab is only one place that you can learn from, and there's many others. Some of my biggest lessons, my biggest discoveries were looking in places like the video comments or pulling inspiration from movies and TV shows that I saw, pulling inspiration from other creators or other businesses or other places, or getting advice from, maybe another creator that I was talking to. Another important thing about stepping outside of your analytics tab to find research and discoveries is figuring out your competition, figuring out other creators and pulling things from them and molding them together to make a new piece of content. A huge mistake I made when I was growing my channel is instead of taking inspiration from other creators, I would just straight up copy them. And I think that's what everyone does to get started, because it's kind of the only thing you know how to do. Like, you look up to another creator that does iPhone tech reviews and you're like, okay, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. And of course that can be a great way to grow, but where I have seen massive amounts of growth, videos that get 10 million views in a week, is focusing on how to be completely different. And when I say different, I more so mean like figuring out how to put your own twist on an idea that's already viral that you can recreate and respark. So a great example of this is, I got this from Roman Atwood, and he did this video where he pranked his family and he filled his house with ball pit balls. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, this looks so much fun. I remember as a kid, I would always play in ball pit balls. Like, this is so cool. So of course, my idea was to put a little spin on it and do something similar, but fill my house with packing peanuts. And that ended up being one of my most viral ideas, but that was me taking an idea and just putting my own little spin on it. And that idea evolved into so many other things of me filling my house with trampolines, filling my house with this and that, and so many other things. And they were some of my most viral videos. But the point is I didn't find this information inside my dashboard. I figured it out outside of my analytics tab. That's where some of my biggest discoveries and breakthroughs have come through. Now look, one day I would love for your YouTube analytics to look similar to mine. Right now, currently, we're sitting at about 80 million views. My real time is currently at almost 4 million, if you can see that right now. I want your YouTube analytics to look like this one day. So if you want my blueprint, everything I know about YouTube, from ideas to thumbnails to titles to editing to filming your video to your personality to growing your videos, reviewing your videos and improving, to focusing on the 3 laws of click, watch, and return, everything is in Blueprint University. So if you're interested, check out the link in the top of the description, or you can head over to blueprintuniversity.com.